The Fortnite Override season is officially underway, and in this video, I'm laying out every secret code, all the new sprites, and everything fresh in the game. So let's kick things off as fast as Sonic himself. First stop is actually his map location, the one that took over Canyon, and comes loaded with all the platforms and set pieces that scream classic Hedgehog. They even tossed in the rings, which heal 5 shield and bump your 0 build overshield up by a point. Watch your back out there though, because Dr. Eggman can pop up in that same location and try to take you down. Flip the script and beat him yourself, and you'll walk away with the season's new mythic loot, namely the 8-bit shotgun and Sonic's shoes. Those sneakers let you tear across the map like the Hedgehog, plus you can morph into that blue ball to really pick up the pace. While you're rolling in that form, you can also bounce right on top of rivals to damage them, exactly like the games always did. If you truly want to feel like Sonic though, grab the Battle Pass, since you unlock the character himself at level 1. He's stacked with a ton of great add-ons too, comes with Tails as a sidekick, and even packs a secondary style that's his transformation. That pass, by the way, sticks around until October 31st. The Sonic content doesn't stop there either, because these characters come with sprites, starting with the blue guy himself, who beefs up your sprint once you've got him equipped. Tails is one we already knew about, letting you fly around for a stretch. Rounding it out is Shadow, who reloads a weapon you aren't holding, though max him out, and he'll refill the one in your hands instead. Anybody who played last year will recognize that as the same deal as the Rose Medallion. As a bonus, he also drops the 8-bit shotgun that racks up score whenever you deal damage. That's the mythic version, but you can dig up the regular one too. And here's where the 8-bit sprite earns its spot, since it serves up the shotgun and doubles your points to boot. Speaking of sprites, just like last season you pick from 3 starters, which this time means Bushranger, who hands you a bush every so often, Jones, who slowly patches your health back up as you take damage, and the Adventurer, who upgrades an inventory item every time you level up. Beyond those 3, there's a whole crowd of others. But don't waste time hunting sprite chests because they've been scrapped this season. Sounds like a downgrade, yet it's the total opposite, since we now have trick panels, and each one carries a color that flags the rarity of whichever sprite you're chasing. I already covered every rare tier, and the epics as well, which are the Sonic Crew plus Kill Switch, that one handing you the dual wield ability of the same character we met back in the Super Season. On the lone legendary front, we currently have Jack Rabbit, an old Fortnite game character who grants you a double jump and cranks your run speed higher with every level. As for the mythics, there's the Klombo, the toughest of the bunch to track down, dropping a random item each level, and you only rank him up by chugging consumables that give health or shield rather than opening boxes or dropping rivals like the rest. Last of all sits the Victory Crown, which climbs a level only when you win matches, and hitting level 5 nets you its coded variant as the prize. That variant is the very first of the whole season, and with this version you can skip the sprite panels entirely, since punching in basically anything just hands you the sprite outright. This variant also lets you grab Sonic and his crew by typing different codes in the lobby. Right now, you're watching me punch in every code we know of so far, and there's more than 15. As you can see, each one carries its own reward. We've got loading screens, we've got sprite dust, and there's even a couple of really rare ones that turn you into a Tetris piece. That last bit only shows for a few seconds in the lobby, and then it's gone. These are just the opening batch too, because Fortnite will almost certainly milk this mechanic to drop more and more of these codes every week, or maybe even every day, gifting us stuff for the game like what you're seeing here, or extras like loading screens, backpacks, and who knows, possibly even a skin. Just in case, hit subscribe so you never miss a thing. Now let's swap sides, since we've been all about Sonic, but it's time to check out every location and item that Geno brought along. He's the top level skin of the pass, by the way, and he's a total spectacle thanks to the sheer pile of cosmetics and styles he carries. You can already spot him in matches hanging near the 0 point. The catch is, you can't lay a finger on him, though he'll absolutely be a huge deal come the end of the season. To be fair, he's got plenty of muscle right now too, since he runs the island through the Reality Rain, a location fused with a PC that his buddy Eggman cooked up. That same spot can spawn the boss Hush, who hands you the mythic rifle, an absolutely nasty weapon. Though there's a solid chance she's parked somewhere else instead. Same story as Eggman, because for another season straight, the bosses aren't locked to one location. Rolling into another change Geno made to the island, you can head to his stone sanctum, which will obviously ring a lot of bells from Chapter 4. Beyond the design, this castle hides a secret vault that you crack open by slotting this mask on both sides. And once you pull that off, you'll watch the water drain, which is your cue to head in and pop a handful of chests. The other locations getting a makeover are the Sunken Shores, now sporting the Tetris pieces, and on top of that, we've got 3 little islands teaming up with Pac-Man. There's one thing I'd steer you away from busting though, and that's the hacking machine, since you'll pick a cartridge off it and trigger something along the lines of an anomaly. Right out of the gate, there's a whole stack of them, like Sonic's Speed, which pumps up the pace for every character on the island, but only if you run the standard one. The legendary tiers only juice you or your squad, and the nasty trade-off is that you'll pop up marked on the map. Then there's the extra XP cartridge that helps you rake in more experience, and the extra life that respawns you once you're on the brink of getting knocked. Golden fishing works island-wide, flipping every fishing spot to gold. Constant healing patches you up whenever you're out of combat. I saved the loot hack for last, since it leads me into a new lobby option where you can buy items with sprite dust, and once you flip that hack on, the next chest hands you whatever you picked up here. Like I said, you can run all of this across the whole lobby, or keep it just for yourself to help you snag the new victory umbrella. You already know characters don't hand you any edge in a match, but playing the season with its own pass is a whole lot more fun without question. This one is honestly incredible, packed with characters sporting a ton of styles and others that simply look jaw-dropping. But there's one of them that stands out the most: Geno. So let's rewind to what his actual goal is this season. In the latest trailer, we see him appear in full force, and now we watch him steal the coin, boost his health, and take out Jonesy again. Or does he? Since it looks like the entire thing was a dream. Now let's wrap up by explaining what's actually going down here, why we've got this video game season, and why the game morphed in such a bizarre way. The explanation might honestly be pretty simple, since the 0 point plays with reality, and now Geno has snatched it. Like they say in the finale event, he took off with the 0 point, so the way I see it, he now controls the game to a degree and has flipped the loop and the whole Fortnite experience into a literal video game. That's why Jonesy can now see and roam the zones that exist before you drop into a match on the island, and that's where all the Fortnite characters and collabs coexist. The strange part hits at the end, since Jonesy wakes up, and it turns out it was all just a nightmare, which cranks up the complexity of the whole thing big time. After the live event, the island is already pretty shaken up, but we've still got a few days until the new season when everything could flip. So, I'll leave you with this story breakdown so you're fully ready when the new lore kicks in. After the Shattered live event, which wrapped up Season 2, Fortnite basically split into a clear before and after. The 0 point came back to life, and with it, the island's worst nightmare returned too. Where did the Foundation go? Is it true Jonesy isn't coming back? And when does Chapter 8 start? Turns out, this whole time it was Geno hiding under the mask of the Visitor from the OG reality. And despite that epic throwdown between the Foundation and the Ice King, the one who walked away the real winner was, big surprise, the Dark Voyager. There were a ton of hints that Cubehead was gonna stab his icy buddy in the back. I broke a bunch of them down in past videos, so I don't know about you. But for me, the betrayal itself wasn't shocking at all. How the Voyager did the Ice King dirty though, that's a whole different story. The Ice King's situation is crystal clear. Sucks to say it, but you can stop counting on him coming back. As for the Foundation, his fate is still a mystery. After taking another beatdown from the King, and losing his helmet for the second time, the Rock dropped off the radar. But we can say for sure he's not dead. The post-event thumbnail showing his helmet hints at it. And so do the files data miners dug up, because at some point a Foundation NPC is going to show up on the island. Plus, one of the challenges has us hunting for his busted helmet. So no need to sweat it over the big guy. Jonesy though is in way rougher shape. While the Foundation and the Loopers were dealing with the 0 point, Jonesy and the Visitor were coordinating our moves from HQ. Except Blondie had no idea that his old boss was the one hiding under that Visitor mask the whole time. And by the looks of it, Geno's been holding a serious grudge, so he sent Jonesy on a forced little vacation. The island flip, the blown up collider, his daughter's death, all those long years wandering the galaxy, Geno clearly hasn't forgotten any of it. You can tell because he knows Jonesy's name and his exact job. So now our legend is rotting away in a recovery pod with a hole in his gut, while Visitor Geno is masterfully running his best friends like puppets. We'll dig into that story separately, but for now drop a get well soon Jonesy in the comments. That revenge isn't gonna take itself. So what's the deal with the 0 point? And why did the island get so wrecked? Here's the thing. Just like I called it, the Voyager used his harvester like a giant power bank to revive the 0 point. But firing it up triggered a wave of anomalies all over the island. The Voyager actually managed to overload the 0 point, which is what blended the island with other dimensions. But his plan hit a snag too. Cubehead never got to finish the experiment because we chopped his battery in half, just in time. And the thing that helped us pull it off was the Singularity, who somehow managed to deliver the Infinity Blade and her message to us through the 0 point. Pure magic. No other way to explain it. Right now, the epicenter is stuck in a kind of limbo. On one hand, it's fully assembled and even showing signs of life. On the other hand, it's super unstable, and according to Hope, it could blow at any second and rip open a fresh black hole. So where does that leave us? A dead king, a missing Foundation, a barely alive Jonesy, and a massive bomb in the shape of the 0 point. And behind all that chaos stands Geno. The crazy part is how the former leader of the Imagined Order played everyone so perfectly. And the big question is what he's planning next. If anybody still hasn't caught on, nobody except us and Jonesy knows that Geno is the one behind the Visitor mask, which means our friends have all become his hostages without even realizing it. If you woke up to Geno as Jonesy, he drops this creepy line about how it feels to rot in that pod while he plays Puppet Master with your innocent little lambs. But here's the wild part. Talk to him in any other skin and Geno acts all torn up that he couldn't protect the legend. Basically, in the snakiest, rattiest dude on the island contest, this guy is running away with the trophy. So now the whole girl squad is at Geno's beck and call, doing whatever he says. For example, he's got Dr. Sloan working on a device that's supposed to stabilize the epicenter. The build, by the way, is going up on a mountain near the 0 point, and that wonder weapon might just be where the season finale event goes down. Throw your guesses for what Sloan's actually putting together in the comments. The one having the hardest time in this crew right now is Hope. She was the most attached to Jonesy out of all of them, and now our girl is throwing everything she's got into getting her power of foresight back and figuring out who's really behind the hit on the legend.
I'm having trouble with my visions. Can you help me investigate? Someone is listening to us. That's not good.
But between investigations, Hope is obviously daydreaming about her boyfriend Kendo, because if you talk to her in the Kendo skin, she lets out this sad little sigh and says it'd be really nice if Kendo were around right now. So shippers, you can breathe easy. The romance between those two clearly isn't over yet. And after the latest update, Peely joined Hope's corner too, totally heartbroken over his best friend. Honestly, that whole spot with Jonesy's pod has turned into a full-on memorial for the legend, with loopers from every corner of the island bringing flowers and balloons, and Peely and Fishstick even drew get well cards. The whole island is waiting for Jonesy to wake up and refusing to give up hope. What Geno's gonna do when that happens is the open question, since the legend knows exactly who he is. But pulling the strings on the girls and building his contraption is only part of Geno's bigger plan. His main target this season is the 0 point itself. The thing is, Sloan's device alone can't restore it. Geno needs one more key ingredient, and that ingredient, as you probably already guessed, is those sprites we've been chasing all over the island, and he's not collecting them for some personal collection. Geno has very specific plans for these little guys, and the kicker is, he basically handed those plans straight to Dr. Sloan, walk up to Sloane and strike up a conversation, and she'll lay out Geno's whole scheme without even realizing it.
Looper, you're on comms with the 0-point stabilization team. You'll be our eyes and hands out in the field.
Tread carefully. All of reality ends if we fail.
Ah yes, that old chestnut. Too bad that it's true every time.
According to her, the sprites are basically the 0-point children's, and they didn't just appear for no reason. They showed up the moment the 0-point started spewing out its energy uncontrollably after the event. To stabilize it, this entire daycare has to be rounded up, meaning every sprite on the island gets caught and sent back home straight into the 0-point. So every time you evacuate a sprite, you're personally handing the epicenter back a piece of its power. Which means, whether we like it or not, we're the ones helping Geno pull off his plan. But our farming alone isn't enough to fully restore the 0-point. Just dumping sprites back into is like filling the tank of a car with no engine. And that's exactly what the wonder weapon Geno and Sloane are building on the hill is for. The way Sloane designed it, the thing works like a stabilizer that'll finally snap the 0-point back to its original form. Sounds like the perfect plan to save the world, right? Except there's one catch, and that catch is Geno himself, because he is definitely not restoring the 0-point out of love for our island. The most obvious theory is that he wants to bring back the order and take the 0-point under his personal control again, and a stable epicenter in his hands is basically the master key to every reality at once. But don't go packing your bags and bailing on the island just yet. Even with all that, we've still got a shot, because the new 7 are showing up real soon. Right now, almost every character on the island keeps saying the 7 aren't really the 7 anymore, and they're 100% right. After the Foundation went missing and the Visitor's identity got blown, Order is the only one left from the original lineup. And she's fully aware of how bad it's gotten, because she straight up says she feels like she's all alone in the universe. The good news is, Epic dropped a few fat hints that the 7 are about to get a fresh roster. The new 7 sprite is apparently already officially on the team. The description from the new 7 set says it in plain text. On top of that, I'm 100% sure that the second Jonesy finally wakes up, he's gonna lead the rebuilt squad. And most importantly, he'll finally claim the title of legend for real. That's when a completely different game begins. By my read, the new team is gonna include Sloane, Hope, and the Singularity. All the right candidates are already on hand. Plus, the latest update gave Sloane a style with a 7 helmet, so even if it's probably just temporary, she'll be joining the squad. And from there, maybe they'll dig up the missing Foundation somewhere too. Assuming he even agrees to rejoin after all his bonehead screw-ups. And then the 7 would have just one spot left for a full roster. Who's gonna fill it? $1,000,000 question. But something tells me Epic's got an interesting surprise cooked up for that one too. And they're the 7, Geno's biggest threat. For a while, the big bad manages to keep them away from his plans. Until one day, Jones, who at the time was working for the Imagined Order, decides to betray his crew and call in the Foundation, the leader of the 7.
I know you have no reason to trust me, but... Oh no. Hang on! Let's talk! Let's talk! Geno! I can get you to Geno.
This new alliance kicks off the war between the 7 and the Imagined Order, and it brings out some essential characters for understanding Geno, like Sloane, the group's top scientist, who also gives us our very first glimpse of what Geno looks like. On the flip side, we also meet the Order and the Imagined, who are Geno's daughters, and who his organization is literally named after. They were genetically engineered to be perfect from birth, but that didn't pan out the way he wanted. And over time, the two sisters end up joining the 7 to stop their own dad. We see this play out in the Marvel comics, which wrap up on a page that reveals Geno has already regenerated. And here's a big detail. Dr. Doom works for Geno in those comics. I'm pointing that out because, more than likely, the vast majority of villains we've seen in Fortnite have worked or are still working in the shadows for him. After the Season 3 final live event with this new island created, Geno is forced to run his plan B, use this new world to create the Oathbound, led by a loop copy of himself and Stellan, two essential characters who've carried us all the way here. Same perfectionist vision, but seen through the lens of a man with honor, represented by a medieval character who only uses battle to protect the world he wants to defend. This alternate origin also explains how Geno's personality evolved, Because the man who now does literally anything for control and the pursuit of perfection started out only wanting to make the world a better place.